Another person who couldn't be here, but who sent us a message, she couldn't be here because it's a long way away from here, is Nidia Diaz. She's the Secretary of International Relations from the FMLN, from the Foro National Liberation Front, but she did send a letter that wanted me to read out, so I'm just going to quickly read that out now. To all our supporters in Australia, receive a warm greeting from the Foro National Liberation Front of El Salvador, and our wishes that you be successful in your work on behalf of the majority deprived of their right to a better standard of living. 2 years ago, on March 15, 2009, we achieved a strategic victory by winning the presidential election with our candidates Mauricio Funes and Salvador Sanchez Seren, gaining the positions of President and Vice President respectively. This historic opportunity has led our nation to a new stage of struggle since taking office on June 1 of that year. The process of transformation and change with the new government of national unity incorporating the FMLN has enabled progress in the deepening of democracy and social development in the face of major changes such as overcoming impunity, violence and economic recovery. Our greatest commitment is to make El Salvador a country where life is worth living, as our historic leader Shafiq said. At this point, we are in a pre-election year. Next March 11, 2012, we will hold legislative and municipal elections, with some changes in the process, including residential voting, independent candidates and open lists. Our entire party membership, friends and supporters are working to ensure a popular and significant victory. Our goal is to achieve more representatives than is needed to have a simple majority, because despite the largest party represented in Parliament, despite being the largest party represented in Parliament, despite holding the office of presidency of this body, we still do not have favourable correlation to ensure we bring the structural changes which allow continuous and deepening transformations of our people. We also intend to maintain, restore and expand our number of municipal town councils, including San Salvador, the capital city. These legislative and municipal victories are very important. With a strengthened majority of government, the FMLN can succeed in becoming a real alternative and continue social change in favour of the majority, and consequently obtain majority support of the people in the presidential elections in March 2014. Now we are making you a proposal to be part of this political celebration and to accompany and support us as many of you have in the past as electoral observers, to monitor the electoral process and ensure it will take place in the best terms according to the principles of transparency, fairness and elementary rules of democracy. We hope to further strengthen our ties of fraternity, cooperation and solidarity in the struggle to build a better world in favour of the majorities. With thanks and in anticipation of your reply, fraternally, Nidia Diaz, Secretary of International Relations, the Foro National Liberation Front of El Salvador. So that's a letter that she sent, and if people are interested in being observers or finding out more about the campaign, they can certainly speak to Juan, who's up the back. And there's also some details that Nidia sent us if people would like to get in contact via phone or email. But I'd also like to introduce Elizabeth Rivera, again another activist that many of you will know, a long-time campaigner in solidarity with Latin America, but very specifically, very especially with the struggles of the people of Colombia, which we know has been one of the worst violators of human rights. So we're very happy to have Elizabeth Rivera to give us a bit of an update of how that situation is going there.
Comrades, first of all, I'd like to thank the Social Forum for putting this day together, and as well as that for inviting us all to be part of this important day. Human rights in the world, they are violated every day, every hour, every second in all parts of the world. So there's at some point in time little that we can do when we're trying to fix one area and another area is being violated in another part of the world. In Colombia, the violation of human rights happens all the time, and it's been happening for many years now, and that hasn't changed. Governments in Colombia have not changed their ways, and they continue on with the violation against one of the class that is the most important one in Colombia, which is the unions and the workers of that country. One of the unionists that we have the opportunity to see here many times came to this country last time in 2007. In August 2008, she was taken from her home in front of her mother and her 2 children. Her name is Liliani Obando Villota. She was here with us, and many of you came many times to hear what she has to say about her country and about how the violation of human rights happen in Colombia. Liliani has been in the prison where she was taken from the first time that she was taken from her home. For her home is called the Buen Pastor in Bogota, one of the most worst prisons in Colombia. Now this year, in 2011, she has been moved to one of the most restricted areas where she has not a chance to even to see the sun any day of the week. Liliani has been a very strong supporter of human rights and very strong unionist. She's also a social worker and a small movie director. Now she's been in that jail all this time since 2008, and one of the reasons why she has been moved this year is because Liliani has continued her work in prison, and she continues organizing all the time. The prisoners in there have been organized. They have been putting work together to send out with what's happening to them in that prison, and this is one of the reasons why this year they could not tolerate that, obviously, and they have moved her to another confined area. Like I said, without even see the sun any day of the week. She has not been put for trial during all this time. Appeals have gone through every 3 or every 4 months in the years that she's been there, and no trial has been done. So there's no any accusation against her except the most common one, crime against the state. With that, she can be there forever and ever without having a trial done. Now the appeals continue happening. The only way that Liliani has been kept at the moment in that prison without being moving to a different area, even more confined than what she is, so nobody can get in to see her, is because of the international support. Without the international support, Liliani would have disappeared a long time ago, and none of us would have known again what happened to her. Now the support, the international support comes from Canada, it comes from Australia, very strong support from Canada and Australia, from England, from America, and other countries around Spain and around South America, like Ecuador, Chile, and other countries. And the support that is being given to Liliani has been terrific, and she appreciates and sends her love every opportunity that she has. Now she received visits during the year, at least 3 to 4 visits a year in prison. Obviously the prison system and the government is not happy about that, and they have tried in many occasions this year to stop the people that have gone from Canada and the people that have gone from Australia to visit her. At the beginning of this year, we have unionists going from Melbourne and Sydney, and one of them, a solicitor with the union, her name Rita Malia, has gone to visit Liliani, has gone through all of the paperwork that it was needed, and when she got there, they asked her for a piece of paperwork that she didn't have, and she was not allowed to go and visit her. Now this is a solicitor who has actually spoken and been very outspoken in there, in a country that is not hers, to try to get in and see her. The only way that she was allowed to do this was in a private room without the physical contact, just the telephone. Now, Rita has presented passport, has presented other identification with her photo on, and when she got there, they asked her for a fingerprint. Now, as you know, our Australian passport hasn't got the fingerprint like some of the identifications that we have back in South America, where our fingerprint is there and they can actually check and compare that fingerprint. And that was the reason why they didn't allow her to go and see her. Obviously, the other reason for that is because she's so well organized that the information from prison, they have no idea how leaves the prison to inform us constantly about how she is and how her well-being is. So we always know about her. Now, the minute that the international support, having got that communication, we start moving to get there somehow, to send someone that is willing to go in and ask to see her. Now, they cannot say no to everybody, so eventually they have to say yes to that international support. We hope that Liliani eventually next year will be given an appeal again. The only appeal that she's asking for, and she has been asking all through the time that she's been in there, is the possibility to change her imprisonment to have that time done at home with her children and with her old sick mother. They have not allowed that to happen. They did allow this to happen to another person who was part of a political party who made an extremely big mistake in politics, and they allow her to spend her time at home with the family, having just to be confined to the area where she is at home, not going out, not allowing any visitors. Now, that would have been better for Liliani and for the support that she gets international. They didn't allow that, so Liliani rebelled, and she actually organized herself and organized the rest of the people, which it hasn't been good for the prison system and for the government at this stage, because if you are a prisoner and you organize other prisoners to complain and to constantly tell about the violations that they do as subjects in prison, and that information goes out internationally, they are trying at the moment to quiet her by putting her in a different area. Now, this will continue, and we know that it won't be easy to try to get Liliani out of that confinement, or try Liliani to be allowed to be with her family, with her little girl who has gone through hell, her son as well. I went last year in September, and at that point in time, the son haven't been able to see her mother for over 3 months. The reason for that is because obviously nobody that was close to her at that point in time wanted to go into prison and be involved, or that they may be taken. So the boy cannot go because he's underage by himself, and so he wasn't allowed to go in. When I went, we managed to get him in with a teacher from university that actually supported the case and took him in, and he was allowed to see his mother for that day. He hasn't been able to come back there. Now, I urge you to finish my intervention. I urge you to continue on that support when it's asked for support for Liliani, so we can continue having this communication with her and this international support that is so important to keep her where she is. Without that support, they would have moved her already without us knowing that she's going to be moved. Now, the day that happened, we at the moment have no idea, but we are working to try to find ways to find out where she is. But she has no support from the unions over there now, because they all are afraid to support her because of the situation in what she is. I urge you to sign letters if you have an opportunity or you receive something by email or in some of this activity, there's an actual petition, please sign those letters to keep her in this prison or to continue on asking for a new appeal. Now, there is today an important day for human rights. We in a month where we all going to go home and celebrate with our families and with our children Christmas and New Year, and I hope that you do not forget at this important time when we all are with our families about all those people that cannot be with their families. Liliana being one of them. Thank you.
And as many of you may have heard, there was elections in the Congo earlier this week. The results are yet to be determined, but we've seen the continued protests and clashes between pro and anti-government supporters. And in the Congo, we've seen essentially not just a human rights violation, but possibly the worst genocide of the 21st century. Some estimated 9.5 million people that have been killed as part of that genocide.